Welcome, Night Owls, to the Book Club After Dark podcast, an inviting moonlit podcast. I'm your host, Danny.
And I'm Michelle. We break down fantasy, romantasy, dark romance, and thriller novels.
All things enchanting, intriguing, suspenseful, and maybe a little spicy.
Each episode features intimate discussions on captivating stories, character breakdowns, fan theories, and more. And this is your content warning. This podcast contains mature themes and discussions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Episodes include explicit language and descriptions of mature romance, as well as depictions of violence and other intense subject matter. This podcast is rated R for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, exactly. And going forward from here, there are going to be lots of spoilers, continuing our coverage of Anathema by Keri Lake. So let's consider this your spoiler warning.
Let's get cozy because the best stories are told after dark.
All right. Okay. So tonight's drink of the episode, I'm calling the Luna Miska, which is right here. It's got a floating dehydrated lemon wheel. It has gin is the primary liquor, but it also has fresh lemon juice. It has this blueberry syrup that I have, and also it has this sparkling grapefruit soda. You can get it as like a mixer, but anyway, you mix the first three ingredients without the sparkling first over ice, shake that really well, put that in your glass, then top it with the sparkling grapefruit soda. And you can really use any kind of citrus soda that you want here or sparkling water. It's really up to you, whatever you have on hand. You don't have to go crazy with this, but the blueberry puree is key because we want that color. I want a darker color. I want something moody, something dark. Not quite the blue that's of the book, but that's okay. That's not really what I was going for. I was going for like a darker, moodier color that kind of embodies where we are in the book. The drink special at the Black Salt Tavern was my alternative name for this drink because we're going to the Black Salt Tavern. And I thought in these chapters, it would be fun to have a drink titled that. But also we have kind of our Luna Miska is our name, that our little pet name that Zavander uses a lot for our girl. So I was like tossing it up between the two. And I also thought this was a little bit high end of a beverage for the Black Salt Tavern because people are just like drowning their spirits in the ale that they're drinking. Right. So, you know, this would be like a high end Black Salt Tavern special if they had one. But there we go.
It's pretty. Cheers. You always use the dehydrated citrus wheels. Are you making those or are you just buying them?
No, girl. No, they have those at the liquor store already prepped.
Okay.
No, they have a couple different versions of them. I really like them because I feel like you see them a lot now. You see them like at the bars a lot now. A lot of them use them. And I think they just are, from a classiness perspective, they don't they're not heavy. So they're not like a fresh lemon wheel, right? Where like it's pretty heavy and it could sink to the bottom. They float really well on the top because they're so light. And then they still give a really garnish to it versus just putting it on the rim of the glass or something like that. So I think that they just look nice. They're pretty popular these days. But I have the orange ones and I have the lemons. They also have them in limes. I don't know if there's any other fruit. There probably are, but those are just the two that I have on hand. But yeah. So there you go. You have a Luna Miska or the special at the Black Salt Tavern. So cheers.
Cheers.
Tonight we are diving back into Anathema. So we are going to be going through chapters 40 through 51 because we left off on chapter 39 last episode. So we're picking back up at chapter 40. We have an announcement from Keri Lake that we'll talk about later in the episode for her new book that's coming out. So that's book 3. We're going to wrap up the trilogy. I also want to kind of talk about how this book and series are being released a little bit abnormal to what we would see in trad publishing and how the trad publishing way of this series is being released versus how it was originally released. So we'll talk about that. And we're going to have mystery Q&A and, of course, down the rabbit hole. So let's get started. Whether you're reading along with us or you're just here for the book talk, we are glad that you're here.
Hey, chapter 40. So we left off with our girl, Mavis, that she was with the spiders, you know? So this is just after
Your
that.
favorite.
My favorite, the cat-sized spiders who bring trinkets and can carry keys and shit. So Zavander.
Spiders.
Oh,
yeah.
God. So Zavander, obviously, he's like, you know, he's just drinking. He's just doing his own thing. And Rakaya's like, help, spiders. Mavis got pulled into Branimir's cell. This isn't a good thing. Obviously, they're afraid that Brandimir's going to do more to Mavis than just like sit in her lap and, you know, listen to her songs. And Zavander, he knows that he's not going to hurt her, and he uses his little mirror trick to get Brandimir to like go away because he hisses at it every time like a vampire. Really, this is where we get the touch her and die. Like, really, he gets overprotective here, and we know Brandimir kind of seems like a threat. He knows his brother's not going to do anything, but he even says in himself, he's like, wow, this is like a weird possessive nature that I have right now. Is really out of character. But we're just going to go with it. And he basically, you know, told Mavis that you just, like, he told her, like, why he's locked away, essentially. Like, he has the curse that's in him. It's a lot worse. He actually chooses to stay locked away because he doesn't want to hurt anyone. And, like, Mavis doesn't believe that. She's like, why would he? He's, like, so sad because she literally just sees him, like, break down crying. But ultimately, you know, she's like, okay, well, if he chooses to be down there and, you know, the spiders obviously want me down there with him, it's fine. I'll go upstairs with you. However, I am going to go down once a day to feed him because clearly he needs food when he's not being fed by Zavander and whoever Zavander wants to feed him, and to sing to him to kind of lighten his soul a little bit. And he, you know, he agrees begrudgingly, but she's gonna now go up into the tower and be locked away that way. And she really loves her new room because this is, remember, she comes from like this hovel where she shares a bedroom with her sister in this like rinky-dink cottage that's like nice-ish for the area because they have like a vineyard and everything, but it's not nice at all. Definitely more extravagant. The linens, the curtains, and she like there's daylight and, you know, this massive window. And Zavander's looking at her because this perspective is from Zavander's. Zavander's looking at her and like is relishing and how she is just so in awe and enamored with everything around her. And he calls her intoxicating, which, you know, it's both a positive and a negative. And that's what he like, all of his compliments are kind of that way. There's like a double-edged sword or duology or duality too. Yeah. He's like, you are like, I love watching you. However, like if you're intoxicated, like, yeah, you feel good. You feel like shit later and you're not really with it all the time. So yeah, he's kind of pissed that he is actually falling for her, you know. His grumpy anti-hero
and
self.
I want to talk about his choice of words here, or Keri Lake's choice of words here, because I feel like these phrases, when you read them, I don't find them cheesy, but if I read them to you, I would. So, like, I feel like there's a lot of, like, romantasy language surrounding this.
All the time. So, even if, like, my husband read half of this shit to me, I'll be like, stop.
Yeah, she was intoxicating, exquisitely divine. If my husband ever said you were intoxicating and exquisitely divine, I would be like, what do you want?
What do you want?
Yeah. What do you want?
Exquisitely divine.
I'm concerned of what just happened here. Yeah.
That's like describing like luxury, like it's like a prince describing like luxury like furniture. That's divine furniture. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, it just sounds weird.
In like a British accent or something.
Yeah.
Or Australian.
Exactly.
Maybe British. It sounds like more like, yeah. But I will say, he calls her Luna Miska at the end of this chapter. And their banter here is actually really cute on that same note. He says, good night, Luna Miska. And she still doesn't really like know what this means. And she goes, do I still annoy you? And he goes, endlessly. And that really cute like moment between the two of them. And it was highlighted. It's one of the top highlights in the book. And it happens multiple times throughout the book. And it's kind of like one of their like witty banter moments.
Yeah.
And you don't really get, that's the end of the chapter. So you don't get like his perception of their banter, which you would normally get a little bit more. But at least you get that. And I thought that the depth of his thoughts, it makes sense to me in the sense that he is so much older. His terminology and language is very different from ours. And they're thoughts that he wouldn't say aloud because he also says like, what am I, like a pubescent schoolboy? Like, what's going on with these thoughts right now? What's wrong with me? So in the same vein that we're saying like, wow, these thoughts are like wild. I would never say this out loud. Like he's also like, I wouldn't either. Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
also like
These are
crazy thoughts.
internal thoughts.
Yeah.
These are
he's
not
having
spoken
this
thoughts.
like, right. So he's not telling her that. He's like, oh yeah, you're still annoying me. You know, but meanwhile, he's thinking these like really sweet. So secretly, like I'm hoping my husband thinks these like really ridiculous thoughts. But like if he were to say them, I would be like, you know, and it's kind of the same type of thing as he's just like thinking to himself, like, it sounds good in my head, but maybe not out loud. So I'll just flirt with her this other way.
Right. Instead, I will tell you that you are annoying on multiple levels, because there is the multiple levels of that. She's like finding it like, wow, just everything I do annoys you, and like the non-romantic way. But he's like, because he's getting these romantic feelings for her, that in its of itself is annoying, on top of like all the other annoying little things she does because she's human or mortal and she doesn't understand their world. So yeah, no, that was a cute moment.
I think it's also very like he falls first atmosphere, because she really is still, I mean, this is the first time she gets like a room, you know. Before all this, like last episode we were talking about how he already was commenting on like her scent of oranges, and she's just kind of still really oblivious here, and it hasn't, she doesn't really think of him. Yeah. And I'm like being completely fair, that's a normal response.
Yes.
But I think at this time for him, he's already really aware of what he's already feeling, and she's definitely not there yet.
Right. I wouldn't know what to feel being locked away in the castle. She was just with spiders. So, you know.
Humanoid like spider that she's like now agreed to feed. Let's like.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say like romantic feelings are like in the back of her mind right now. Considering like she's had like what, one bath this whole time that she's been here, and we're in chapter 40. So
exactly. Well, anyway, chapter 41, now that we've had this nice moment, we've got to get back to training. So she starts training with Dolian, Zavander, and Rakaya. She's learning these new glyphs. And as we talked about, her kind of magic that she has is these glyphs are a type of way to harness power. So she's learning how to propel things, and it's like more complex than what she's already learned, but it's useful against those who like want to read your mind. So she's trying to push people out, and she closes her eyes and tries to push Kaya out. But there's certain ways that I imagine like these glyphs being built physically and stuff. This is just so I envision this. It's probably not accurate, but that's how I envision this. So Mavis closes her eyes, goes into a vision. She sees Morsana, who's the goddess of death. And Morsana warns Mavis that there's something she should know about him. Ominous. And then she's gone and on the floor. Great.
I wish
tells her
we see this in all Romantasy, like some sort of like warning that is so vague. It's like, can we just please not be vague? Can we for just once like watch out for this explicit thing? Like, I feel like that would just be so much more clear for the reader, for our characters. I get so annoyed by
where does the book go from there?
There's so many other things, because are we talking about Zavander? Are we talking about our main villain? Like, who? There's so many men here. Can we give our girl some guidance?
Morsana didn't have a lot of time. She didn't have a lot of time.
She went to like a dream state. She had plenty of time.
What is time in a dream state? We don't know.
Exactly.
So Dolian tells her that the dream space is called, speaking of, Caligoria, and it's where she'll learn the magic that's connected to her bloodline. But that's too advanced for now. So this is where we get first introduced to what you're basically explaining, which is a measure of time in a dream state. And the dream state's really important. It's important in Eldritch too, but we really get first introduced to it here in Anathema. And it continues to come up. But when we first get introduced to it, it's difficult to understand first. And I think that's why she kind of takes her time. Keri Lake takes her time showing us this in a very simplistic way before she starts to really develop it later on, so we further understand it through Zavander's perspective. But we first find out about Caligoria from Dolian, who tells her about it, and she tries the glyph again, and she's able to block out Rakaya. And then Rakaya, being the lovely sister that she is like, you like my brother. don't you? And she's like, as one does. So they keep going through fighting techniques. And again, this is from Mabeth's perspective. So she's absolutely like, I don't think about him. I never thought about him. I don't know what you're talking about, Rakaya.
I don't think his butt looks good. I don't
No.
think any of those things. Meanwhile, she like reads like it minds. Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Zavander keeps calling her the Luna Miska, which actually means moon witch. And we may or may not get a moon witch drink later, even though I've called this drink Luminiska. I still like that name, moon witch, and I might want to use it again later. So we'll have to see. But more to come. We'll see if I decide to do that or not. And it's because of the silver marking in her eye. Rakaya leaves, and her powers require her a lot of Vivicantum, which we did have a drink of the episode called Vivicantum. And if we remember correctly, this is this white powder substance that they don't have a lot of where Zavander is, but there is actually tons and tons of that we don't know about yet, and that it's plentiful. And there's people that don't have it when they probably should, and it's being hoarded by the very, very rich at the top. And if that isn't some kind of underlying message of wealth and economy, I don't know what is, but I digress. Yeah. So Mavis starts to use her magic and starts twirling this staff that they have that she's fighting with. And she's using her magic to do it. She's able then all of a sudden to command some of his powers and make his sable fire intensifies in his palms. And this is like very startling for Zavander because he's never had anyone challenge him or kind of be a magical match to him away against sable fire, which is a reminder to him of like the first time he tried to kill her, if we remember before, where he did try to use the sable fire and it didn't work. And not only did it not work, now she's able to actually intensify it. And there's a baffling feeling for him because he doesn't know what to make of this situation. Zavander's like, the fuck, and like leaves because he's so doesn't know what to do with this whole situation. And Dolian's explaining, hey, you siphoned, like you took power from him. And it ends up with her having a new glyph on her hand. So this is what I'm saying when I think of glyphs is like, it's not necessarily something you draw like outright, like in the air. It's like on your body. So the glyphs actually kind of in a weird way, even though the series is very different, but in the same genre, reminds me of the Quicksilver glyphs and how Ceres kind of gets a glyph like on her body or tattoo or whatever. This is kind of similar to that in the sense that there's another type of glyph marking related here. So it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah, it actually also reminded me of like City of Bones with Cassandra Clare. So they all would have like tattoos of like different sort of like magic stuff all over their body. Also, I'm just remembering Jace because he was, when I was first reading this series, when I was very, very much younger, he was, yes.
Heartthrob. Yes.
Yes,
Jace.
very much so. Yes. And now he is, and especially when in Shadowhunters. Now the main actor who played Jace in Shadowhunters is Vecna. So heartthrob through and through. Ish. Toxic red flags through and through.
I did not piece that together.
Yeah.
I don't know how I never pieced that together.
Yeah, he was Jace.
You always send me these Vecna things, and I was like, oh, okay. And now it all makes more sense. It's all clicking into place,
yes,
Michelle.
Because that was like, it's not romantasy because it's YA, but there's some parts that were a little bit darker, you know? So
for sure.
Yeah. And
I loved that series.
And there was sex. It was just off page because it was YA, but it was definitely like hinted at for sure.
Yeah.
So it was like very
but it was
high
definitely
YA.
Extremely closed door for sure. But
yes. Yeah. Amazing series.
Because it was YA, but it was, yes. I mean, anyway.
Yeah.
Segueing back to Zavander's point of view in chapter 42.
So chapter 42, yes, he is angry because he actually has the loss of power. And he's like, wait, no, that doesn't happen to me. I don't lose control over things, especially tiny mortals. And Revezio and Torin, remember, these are these other assassins. They have the Flamel in the dungeon. So this the Flamelian, at least who they think, is the one who hurt Rakaya. And they have some plans for him, you know, because he wanted to kill Rakaya and he was using his magic to extract pain from his victim. So he is called a pain keeper ultimately. And it's It's similar to Rakaya's power, but not as much, because Rakaya kind of feels all of her emotions, and it kind of leaves her like the people who interact with her magic in more of a happy state, whereas his is more negative. Zavander uses his scorpions to threaten this Flamelian for information, and primarily who supplied the Flammapole, which is the toxin that people use to, with the sex cells. So the man is like, you can't get me. I'm like, I have a charm on me that any one of Zavander's people, Zavander, he can't hurt me at all. And Zavander's like, all right, bet. So he literally feeds him to Branimir. It's like, fine, you can't, if it's not any of the Latalis, then you can have my brother. And Branimir gets a full belly that night, and the spiders.
Yeah. And it's the Flamelian, the fire bleeding piece is, it's really disturbing. I'll explain what it is from the glossary, but so first of all, Flamelian, the definition is one who practices fire bleeding. And then you're going to yourself, what the heck's fire bleeding? I wonder what that is. Oh, well, just go up one word and it says sprinkling Flammapole. Well, wait a minute. What is Flammapole? Flammapole is the poison that causes extreme paralysis when introduced directly into the bloodstream. So a Flamelian who's practicing fire bleeding is taking this poison, sprinkling Flammapole on the tongue, then making small cuts in the flesh and licking the wound to introduce the subject and the substance. And it causes extreme paralysis to the individual. Now, this Flamelian by definition, it says there's a sexual gratification because for his having excruciating pain for his victims. So that's why it's really important here that even though we have someone like Zavander who feeds this guy to his brother Branimir,
he's not
we have
a good
to remember
guy.
who this is. No. By saying Flamelian, it's vague and it's not spot on of what this guy is, which is essentially a rapist. I mean, he's a grapist.
Yes.
We'll use grape because we can't use the R word, but basically that's what he is, and to the point where it's quite sickening what this guy does.
I mean,
so
if we go back
to
episode
how
1,
dark this piece is,
right. We go back to episode 1 when we talked about Rakaya, where we find Rakaya in her state, and this is where we first introduced to the idea of the Flamelian and how the state that Zavander found her in. She was literally passed out, like she was very much not coming to after having gone through that experience, and then she's like vomiting everywhere, and for her feeling emotions is a pain in and of itself, but then having this state where she can't do anything about it is quite traumatizing. And these people, this man as well as like other Flamelians, they specifically just target prostitutes, and because they're an easy target for them, and so he fucked with the wrong one and found out what happened.
So what we learn here, in addition to the fact that this Flamelian is doing this, he also is a person that is a pain keeper, and his specific magic is tied to him getting a gratification out of inflicting pain on others, which is just sadistic. So for all those reasons, are we really sad that he got fed to Branimir? Not so much. Not in any sort of way. So let's move on to chapter 43, which we get at Myth's perspective. Bath number 2.
Yay.
Maybe she's had more. We don't know. But we get another bath, and all of a sudden, she can't help but start thinking of Zavander. And she...
Don't blame her.
Decides that she doesn't want to go home. She finally has this realization. She's like, why would I want to go back there? I don't want to go back there to Foxglove Parish. Like, who would want to?
It's awful.
No, thank you. Yeah. So she's like, I got to get Alasia. She still realizes she has to get her sister. So she gets out of the bath. This was a big turning point in her mental health state of realizing that she desperately really didn't want to go home because she doesn't really have one. And she doesn't have anyone who loves her there. She finally has a mismatched bunch of friends, for lack of a better word, that she's experiencing here with Zavander. But more importantly, she's finally tied to something that she understands is her blood and her bloodline, and what she's been looking for so long. So she's been having this feeling of conflict as we've been reading about her of trying to see where she belongs and where she fits in and where her identity is. And she realized here in the bath that she needs to find out more about herself, even though she still needs to find Alicia. So now her mission is, I have to find my sister, but also I'm not ready to leave Zavander because I need to figure out what's going on with myself. And also I think I kind of like him, which is dangerous. So she goes to find Magda, which is the cook. She starts to go feed Branmere. Zavander catches her before she goes down there alone and says that he already ate dinner.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need anything.
Big meal.
As we saw in the previous chapter. Yeah. So what he's doing is protecting her, but Mavis does not really see it that way at this point. She's pretty frustrated by the fact that finally she's going to do something in her mind that's seemingly helpful, and it is rewarded by not being able to do the thing that she wants to do. So she's frustrated by this, but she confesses that taking his power made her feel aroused, which is an interesting comment that she's making here. And he just completely ignores this comment.
Doesn't all like imagine?
Literally just like doesn't acknowledge what she just said.
Exposes herself, and he's like, I'll take you to sing later.
Like, yeah, literally. What? Yeah, he's like, and she's like, what? And it's so funny because it's like, you would think, again, there's a lot of memes that refer to like how old all the guys are in romantasy and in fantasy books because girls are mature faster. And the way as soon as I read this, where he's just like, oh yeah, I'll take you to sing to him later, and she is just like, excuse me, like I just what? It's just hilarious. So she was trying to be vulnerable, and he was just like, oh, you wanted to go sing, like completely just whoop.
Yeah.
The what?
About that singing though.
About that singing. Let's talk about the singing. Exactly. She does go to sing to Branmere again later, which is sweet of her, but also a good way for us to continue to empathize with him. And again, I just wonder what it had been like for him having the castle completely to himself and being so isolated before Zavander. Yeah. And yeah, Aya showed up and all of that. So he's finally getting some positive attention. So she leaves and tries to go get some more information out of Zavander, which this girl has some balls of steel, because after he just like straight up ignored her comment, I'm like, girl, we're going to go back and okay. Yeah. All right, then why not? Tries to find out more about him.
The way I'd be like, no, I'm just going to go crawl into my room now.
Literally.
Don't talk to me.
So she's like, no, I'm not going to take no for an answer. So she talks to him about likes and dislikes. They have this, they continue to have this banter that they've kind of had so far. She tells him, she's not as innocent as he thinks. She knows about poison making, and they talk about their fears. And there's this quote that says, where he says to her finally, who could have predicted that one touch of your pounding pulse would be so disarming? So again, their language to each other is just like, and the way that he says this comment to her, it's like of an older age, and it's sweet and endearing, but also if my husband ever said, who could have predicted that one touch of your pounding pulse would be so disarming to me, I would be concerned.
But the yearning, yeah, this is what the people want.
It is what the people want.
It's provocative.
And
that whole...
It gets the people going. Yeah.
Yeah. We want the yearning. We have the man. We already have the husband. There's no yearning there. This is what we want to read.
Right. So, yeah. And you're like, well, by the time you get here, you're in chapter 43. You're like, you've been yearning for some time. We're ready to get the show on the road. But like I said at the very beginning, there's no spice for a while. This book goes on for some time before there's any kind of spice. It's just trauma. We're just getting traumatized. Like every chapter, we're getting traumatized by something before we start getting
we keep reading.
We keep reading. Because you know what? We learn through trauma,
We do. There's a lot of learning here.
And it's not ours. It's not our trauma. Remember?
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
So chapter 44 is Zavander now. And a Mimicrow brings Zavander a message from the king that he requests Zavander's presence. So he has to go to Castlewick. And as he's as he's saddling up to go to Castlewick, he sees Mavis like staring at her from like her tower. And the way Revezio is like, oh, I
Okay.
see, I see her.
What's going on
Would you
there?
like me to give her a goodbye kiss? And the way Zavander's like, you touch her, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I'm like, yes, touch her and die. The yearning, touch
No,
her and
but
die. This
also
is all we want.
it's also bestie banter though, because Revezio
Right.
would never,
No, he's
in
like,
a million. He knows he's like deliberately trying to rile him, and so I was like, okay, Zavander has besties. He's okay. He's gonna be all right.
for sure, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, he's friends. He can't be that bad, even though they're all assassins. So,
Yes.
with
Well.
very similar trauma. But,
Yeah.
here we are. So, Zavander's in Castlewick, and there is discontent in the kingdom. Essentially, people want a Prince Dorjan to perform the initio. So, we talked last episode about the becoming ceremony. And this is like the first opening ceremony and like the blessing of the becoming ceremony. If we remember what the becoming ceremony is, this is where when a young woman becomes of age, which here is 17, the king basically has like this game where a group of men get to fight for who gets to have the woman's virginity. Not her hand in marriage. Virginity, period. They're very, very clear. And this is because it's the princess. This is a whole big deal. So Dorjan's the prince. He has to do the big, he like hands her off like he's like the father of the bride too, like in the middle of the becoming ceremony. It's really weird. This is not
Bizarre.
This is not really about it, but there's a ceremony and here we are. Obviously, this puts the princess at risk. We also talked previously why the prince needs to be safe at all costs, because if anything happens to the prince, literally the pestilence and death and decay and all this stuff happens to the entire realm. So we want to keep the prince alive. And this is Zavander's job. So Zavander inspects Dorjan's carriage, makes sure he's like good to go, escorts him to the ceremony, and Dorjan addresses the people when Zavander's like, oh, there's this man in a hooded cloak. And the way this happens really fast because Zavander's like, cloak man. And then all of a sudden there's chaos and this hooded villager is like chanting, Cadavros lives, the king will die, the king will die. Obviously, Dorjan hints that he is upset with his father. The people, if you have watched Game of Thrones, this is very much like any of the royals, like they live very lavish lives. And then if you go to the common folk, they're literally living in their own shit. Very same thing here. People don't like living in their own shit and not having access to food and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So they tend to rebel. Yes. So they tend to rebel. And this is where Zavander has to protect Dorjan. And he uses his scorpions to get them out of there. And obviously, Dorjan blames his father for like the villagers starving and everything.
Yeah, this was dark.
He gets safely back to the castle. Right. And it just reminded me entirely of King's Landing, where anytime any of the royals stepped into like the common folk area, it's just horrific. And they're mostly like having riots against the king. So, yeah. Zavander goes to the Black Salt Tavern here and runs into an older man named Oswin. Oswin tells Zavander that people are talking about Cadavros' return to deliver villagers by giving them sable fire. So, Zavander told, in the last episode, we talked about how Zavander tells Dolian about like the creature that Mavis saw in the Eating Woods. And Dolian's like, I kind of think that could be Cadavros. And, Zavander's trying to figure out, like, why wouldn't Cadavros be dead? And, the king, why wouldn't the king kill him? And here we have, like, the people believing that he's alive and he's going to give them sable fire. And Zavander's like, y'all don't want this. I have it. It's not fun. This isn't fun. No. This is a curse. But they're like power. They want power because they feel powerless. So, and then on top of the uprising, there's the continual murder of sex sells or prostitutes in this story. So, Zavander also sees Gavrok, which is the boy from before. He has he's been making a name for himself. He's been making himself useful, which we're very happy for him. He has this thing called dwindleweed powder, which is an aphrodisiac. And what he does is he goes into the local pubs and just sprinkles them into people's drinks. And that makes them want to visit the brothel. So he's making himself useful. It's a minor aphrodisiac. It's not he's trying to just live.
He's trying to hustle.
Also,
It's called a hustle,
not
sweetheart.
condoning spiking people's drinks at all,
No, definitely
whatsoever.
not.
But
Not. I'm just saying.
no,
Yeah.
he made himself useful in this time. So
He's trying to stay alive, this kid. He's resourceful.
yes, exactly. And Zavander is asking him for information, essentially. It confirms that the recent death of the last XL was from Flammapole. So this is a very big issue, having these Flamellians around. And Zavander basically was like, here's money, here's Vivicantum. Whatever information you find out about whoever that is dealing this Flammapole, you tell me immediately. And the boy's like, yes, of course, because now he has a reason.
He already had him in his back pocket anyway, but now this is like a little extra something to keep him there. Chapter 45 bounces back to Mavis, and remember, she didn't leave the castle, so we're back in the castle with her. She's out on the balcony of her room, and she held her hand out for these like firefly creatures is the best way to describe them. I'm going to try to pronounce this, and I'm going to probably do it poorly, but we're going to do our best shot here of trying to pronounce this. And the word is celestial, which is an aggressive firefly creature that has a human face. So kind of a fairy. I don't know, kind of not. But they land on her and they make her glyphs glow. They're kind of disturbing because the good luck from what they give is because they didn't kill you. Great. Because what they do is they basically invade birds' nests and they kill the mother and the baby, and that's what they eat. They're predators. So for them to not bite you or kill you from their venom, you are lucky. So good luck for Mavis.
Yeah. She's been everything but lucky this entire series.
Yeah. And so Zavander comes back and they engage in more banter between his room and hers. And he climbs on to her balcony in this moment. And because their balconies are like right next to each other because they share like a room. He climbs onto her balcony and he gives her this knife, and there's this whole banter too of him like, she's like, oh, you won't, and he's like, bet I will, and he does. He like climbs up onto the balcony, and everybody keeps trying Zavander, and he's like, I'm really not sure why all y'all keep trying me because I'm
a man of my word.
Do you know who I am? Yeah. So she's getting all these feelings and things like that, and there's the Mossy, which is the shadows of pain who live in the castle. So again, more magic. This castle and this whole area, there's just magic-y creatures like all over the place. They're all hanging out. Remember, there's creatures in the wall. There's shadow creatures. There's dragonfly face creature things. There's all kinds of stuff outside. We got creatures all over the place. So these shadows of pain who live in the castle are warning Mavis, don't trust him. Don't trust him. The goddess of death will punish someone. But of course, they're not identifying who that goddess of death is going to punish. So great, cool story. Thanks for telling us.
Another warning not to trust him. And we're assuming that this is Zavander at this point in time because she just interacted with Zavander. Yes. But another vague warning by some sort of dark mythological creature. Mm-hmm. Just tell a girl what she needs to do. For real.
Literally tell her. Yes.
So chapter 46 is Mavis' perspective, and she slept in. She slept until noon, and she was like, oh shit, I slept in. I was tired. And he's just like studying. He's a book guy, which I love too. He likes studying and reading books in his little library and drinking his liquor.
Got things to read. Yeah.
Exactly. He drinks and he knows things, basically.
Yes.
So Mavis blames the dagger that Zavander had given her for the reason for her sleeping in, because she actually, for once in her life, didn't have to like fear what's around her as she slept. She actually went into a deep sleep state, which she's like never done before, which good for her. She needs some sleep.
But also like Mavis, my girl, what about
we are in our 20s now and we have not had deep sleep.
Has this stunted our growth? I'm a little bit concerned about her health and well-being. I mean, just now I've been concerned for some time, but this was like icing on the cake of, I've never had REM sleep. What
do
her trauma is so thick that she's like never slept deeply. It's depressing.
Which right now I feel that on a spiritual level right now. Very different reasons. Mine is because I have a baby,
an infant.
Yes, who also wakes up quite often. But yes, They end up skipping training because Evander's, okay, we've already wasted the day. It's fine. And then he asked her about like the siphoning of the magic. So now he's okay, let's revisit this topic that I completely blew off earlier. She told him she felt calm and in her mind saw like a gentle ribbon of fire. And the amount of magic she pulled, he tells her, like, should have killed you. It would have killed anyone else. Like, you shouldn't be able to pull that amount of magic, especially Sable Fire. Sable Fire in general will kill anyone else. Yeah. And he says, you have a very dangerous gift, Maveth. Were you anyone else, you'd be considered a threat. I eliminate threats without question. So again, they're not enemies, but he's very much, you should be a threat to me.
I don't want
to
like you. Yeah.
Deeply aroused by you and love you more for it. He's so conflicted. And he says like shit like this to try to push her away, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It never works. This is like the same thing. No. He's Kingfisher, essentially. When Kingfisher was like telling Sarah like all the awful shit, and he's like secretly yearning for her the entire time. Same shit, different realm. He tells her to essentially do it again because he wants to figure out how she's doing it because it's never happened before. Again, my guy's a book guy. He wants to figure out the mechanics of it. And they put their palms together and he allows her to siphon magic from him. And she feels like chaos and wants more. And then he kisses her and calls her a fucking torment. Please play with my feelings. Please.
Yeah. And it's weird because I feel like Devander's not her first because she talks about a stable boy before he was in Foxglove. But I think she is less in touch with her own feelings and body mechanics to a certain degree.
I wonder why.
And so I feel like this exchange between them is partly her trying to figure herself out and what's happening here. So it's complex. It's a complex description. And this isn't just, and we kissed.
No, this is like a deep.
Yeah. It takes there's a whole massive like to 8-sentence paragraph describing this kiss. There's a lot happening here. It's intense. So we finally get to chapter 46 and we have a little sprinkle, maybe 1 to 2 pepper spice here.
But the yearning continues because we can never do this again. Okay. Again. Play with my feelings. Poor girl. But it must have been some good kiss because she keeps going back. Then we have Maveth. She's making a weaver around her bed. And essentially, this is woven herbs to ward off nightmares. And Rakai's, I want to do that too. That seems fun. So they're like literally like braiding greenery.
Arts and crafts time.
Yeah. It's girl chat. Let's have some girl time. So she tells Rakai about the dead woman she saw last night that said, don't trust him. Don't trust her brother. And that's weird because we burn our dead and turn them into vivicantum. So you shouldn't be seeing dead people because that's not
to see.
Yeah. They're gone. But Rakaya, she asked for a description and she ends up knowing the woman, but he's, I'm not going to tell you. Let's move on from this conversation. So obviously this hits from the perspective. And at this point in time, because 1, I haven't read Eldritch, but 2, this is where I'm thinking like, okay, maybe this is her mother because her mother was like deeply tortured and all that. I don't recall them burning her, like the mention of burning her body, at least in turning her into vivicantum. But the reference of like how much torture and pain that she went through within the castle would make sense if she turned into one of these Demosi creatures because of all like that pain.
Yeah. Chapter 47, again, still from Maveth's perspective, we get a time jump here. Finally, almost 2 weeks past, 11 days, and it goes over. I would see this as like a montage scene if you're going to look at it in a film perspective, but it's basically her studying, cooking, teaching Require how to weave. We need the passage of time because we know that after 2 weeks, there's going to be some movement happening here. She's either going with Dolian or she's staying with Zavander. Zavander is expecting her to go with Dolian. This is also why he pushes her away because he doesn't believe that she's going to stay. So Alora is teaching her how to do this mind projection through echolocation. So remember, she has this inner ear echolocation type thing. Yeah,
they're fucking dolphins.
Yeah. Yes, the dolphin noises. So she's trying to use clicking sounds to create this image projection in her mind. Where the way that I would look over and see her practicing this and be like, what in the? Okay. So she sees a tree. Yeah, she sees a tree with curled branches with old bark on it, and she twists the style of the puzzle. It ends up unlocking it for the puzzle book that she has. So this is the Grimswood. It's the cursed tree at the bottom of the Crescerian Trench. So if we remember from previous episode, that's where her people supposedly like fell into and are still existing today. And this giant tree is there. So now she has this other puzzle to solve as she keeps going, as she's working through this book about the history of her people. So we saw before, a few pages before, that there's like moving pictures in there that are drawn to like her blood, and her blood was able to open the book. But then Ravox is back. So
Yay.
Ravox, we have missed our pet friend. We were worried about Ravox. Like, where the heck did poor Ravox go? Ravox got abandoned. But Ravox has found Mavis, and he's a little bit bigger. He's a big boy. Yeah. And Alora's, that's a mythical creature. She's, what do you mean? This is my Ravox. What's she talking about? Aya pops up and she's feeling jealous of the time that Alora and Mavis are having, and with Ravox being there. Rakaya shows Mavis how to cleave, which is this transportation form. It's like a teleportation. And they decide they're going to go shopping. So they're going to go shopping because they need to go get dresses. And Rakaya's, it's going to be fine. Don't even worry about it. We're going to go get dresses. Nobody's going to know who we are. Don't worry. So Rakaya's pissed because she didn't get invited to this princess's becoming ceremony. And she's, I'm going to go anyway, and I'm going to shield you with this magic that I have because I can change the way that we look and disguise ourselves. We're going to be these like ladies of nobility. Nobody knows who we are. This is a foolproof plan.
She actually did get invited,
okay.
But Zavander was like, no, she's not going anywhere. Right. Troublemaker, yeah, she is.
Yeah. So of course, this seems foolproof. Naturally, sounds like a good idea. So as they leave, these fire drakes are chasing them, and Rakaya is unable to cleave them to safety. So she's trying to leave once they get dressed and everything. And so she's trying to leave and they can't. So Mavis like calls on Ravox to come protect them.
Yep. We have our big bird back. And so chapter 48 is Mavis again, and she's sneaking back into her room, and Alora's there waiting for her. Alora's around a lot. And
yes.
You know, Kaya, her jealousy is, I finally have a girlfriend, and now I'm not book smart. And Mavis and Alora have this bonding thing that they have. And Alora, the way that she's just like hanging out in her room, she's like, oh, you miss study time. I was just like, why are you hanging out so much?
Yeah.
But weird. Yeah, it's a little weird. At least I got some weird vibes from it. I don't know if it's supposed to be. She's just nice.
It's like her personality type too.
Mavis asks if she knows anything about the Corvigon, which is Ravox. But there's very little known about them at all. We just know that their growth rate is far faster than the dragons, which obviously Ravox is massive at this point in time. And not a lot of time has passed. Although there's a hint later on that time passes differently in the two different realms. But still, it's still not that much time for him to be like as big as he is. So Rakaya again interrupts them because she's like, no, we're not. You don't get her to it yourself. And then Alora's, okay, this is awkward. I'm going to leave. And Rakaya just goes on a rant on how like, she smells like jasmine. Who fucking smells like jasmine all the time? What the hell? And Mavis is like, you have jasmine soap. So, you know, maybe she's going to smell like jasmine. And Rakaya's like, yeah, but all the time? Who needs to take that many baths? So she like goes on like,
pissed.
She's spiraling. Yeah. She is spiraling.
Yeah.
And Rakaya then gives Mavis wine. And this wine is some strong shit. And what it does, it doesn't just get you drunk. It makes you feel things very sensually. So
it's an aphrodisiac wine.
Yes, for sure.
She knew what she was doing too.
Yeah, Rakaya's, one drink. It's fine. And then all of a sudden, Mavis has had 4. And she's a mortal who's never done this before. And they're like literally like having a pillow fight. Like literally they're just jumping around and having a good old time. And they're trying, oh shit, you've had way too much. Let's lock the door and then just like jump on the bed to burn off the alcohol. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think that goes in with the logic. Who am I to know how alcohol works? But I don't think jumping on a bed just burns it out of your system. So as they're like dancing together, they talk about the mating bond. So here's how we get the hints that a mating bond exists, and I wonder who has one. Which apparently you don't know who your mate is until you kiss. And guess who just kissed a couple chapters ago?
And guess who was like, bye, immediately.
Yeah, immediately. Go away. I'm feeling some feelings that I don't want to be feeling. And obviously Maeve is okay. Like, that's cool. She doesn't understand those sort of like feelings. And Zavander also, he has to have this explained to him. We're just getting the hint here. Okay, mates are a thing. And our people just kissed. And and then the wine is going to make some other things happen in the next chapter that we get from Zavander's perspective. Oh boy, for him.
And also, too, she makes this comment to, Rakaya makes this comment to Maevith saying, maybe he's just interested in mortals and it's not anything special to me. Rakaya's no, he's really serious and I've never seen him with another woman ever until you came here. Like ever. His whole life, she's never seen him with another woman. Chapter 49. This is a funny chapter to me, but also, here we go. Zavander and Revezio were in the Great Hall and they hear screaming. And of course, it's Maevith and Rakaya throwing pillows at each other. And Zavander notices that they drank ambrosia, as Maevith already feels the effects of this liquor. So it's this like wine drink type thing. And Revezio suggests someone needs to stay with her and give her some relief. And we're all like, what do you mean, Revezio?
Oh, yeah.
And we know what Rakaya did. She did this shit on purpose.
Absolutely.
On purpose. And he offers to do it if Zavander won't. And Zavander's like, touch her and die.
Touch her and die.
So instead, Revezio carries Rakaya out of the room. And Maevith starts...
Rakaya's also feeling some effects. And then Revezio like has her over her shoulder. And she's like, I'm going to have my own fun.
Exactly. So Maevith begins begging Zavander to make pain go away. And they eventually have their own times, respectively, not touching each other to themselves. Very spicy.
Yes.
So we get our first spicy scene in chapter 49. Lots of
like also
well written.
It was mildly it was intense. I'm like uncomfortable. Like it was like
yes.
It I don't tend to find like I want to say like standard spicy scenes. If we just get the standard stuff, I don't find those uncomfortable to read. But this, I was like, this is uncomfortable because of the state of what she's in. And I'm not going to take advantage of you, but also hurts me too.
Because he's like trying to be honorable in the sense of, I don't want to be the first time that we do something to be because you're drunk.
I'm also going to watch you while I touch myself.
It was consensual on both parties.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It was uncomfortable.
It was something. What has been comfortable so far about this
nothing.
book? I feel like
absolutely nothing.
That's the point.
For sure.
Is that
okay.
Get comfortable in the uncomfortable. It's gonna have to be our new like slogan for this whole. Just get comfortable in the uncomfortable because you're gonna be feeling that way.
Awkwardly laughing the entire time because I am uncomfortable.
Yeah, we've seen shirts that just says "I'm uncomfortable" and picture of this book. Somebody make those for us.
So
I'm uncomfortable,
50,
but I'm happy about it. I don't know.
Yeah, obviously, like we're like masochists ultimately.
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna suffer,
gonna keep reading
but you're gonna be happy.
Enjoy
about
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so chapter 50 is Maevith, and she can't remember anything after she started jumping on the bed with Rakaya. She blacks out.
Yeah.
So she's I feel fine ish. So she just bathed and got ready to train, and Rakaya's like, how was it? And she was like, I don't know. I don't remember anything. And then the way Rakaya gets mad, she's like, such a waste. This was wasted on you if you don't remember anything. It's wow, you really just want to be messy this entire time.
Rakaya is so devious.
Just
I love
messy.
She's the best.
And then Zavander and the other Latalis went to Castlewick that morning. So it's just Mavis and Rakaya here. And tonight is the becoming ceremony. And Rakaya thinks Zavander likes her. And if he catches them at the ceremony, he'll be pleased to see her in the dress they picked out, because she picked out something that was a little scandalous here.
Yeah.
She even says, like, normal men fawn over women. Zavander, a trained killer, treats them as an annoyance since he was taught to avoid affection. So again, like, him calling her an annoyance, it's because it's something that's been, remember, Zavander has some trauma with affection. A lot of trauma. A century's worth of trauma.
Yes.
And so doesn't know how to process those types of things. And she's reaffirming that, no, this means he likes you. He just has a lot of shit to unpack. So and then next, Dolian drops a bomb on Mavis and is leaving to Calixar, which is an island in the south. So
what?
Yeah. Calixar, what's that? So if you look at your map, island in the south, and he's, you're going to come with me. I know you're comfy here. You're not staying here. You're going to come with me. And
by the way, all this out. Yeah.
For you.
So
we're not going to Mortasia. Yeah. And she's like, no, I want to go to Mortasia. And he's like, no, you need more training. Like, you're not ready. And she immediately is, fuck this. She runs to Rakaya and is, you know what? Let's go to the becoming ceremony. We're going to wear masks. It's going to be fine. And then afterwards, you have to cleave me, or teleport, ultimately back to the woods. And Rakaya's, no, I'm not going to do that because now I have a friend. And fate has drawn us together, ultimately.
But Mavis does not want to go with Dolian, though. Go back to the castle because Mavis is, I don't want to go back with Dolian because he's going to make me go to this island that's even further away from Malaysia. I'm never going to get back to my sister. Rakaya, you need to help me out here. I'll go with you to this thing, this becoming ceremony thing. I'll be masked. It's fine. And I need you to take me back. Yeah.
But Rakaya doesn't want to do it. One, she doesn't think it's a good idea because she knows, like, what's in the woods. It's not safe out there for her. But two, she doesn't want to lose her friend. Like, she has a friend. And she's like, I hate my life. And life hasn't been so awful for me since you've gotten here. And Rakaya continually relives the torture her mother went through until she died. Like, she, like, talks to her about, like, her mother and how she was ultimately spared. And that was mentioned before. No one really knew why she was spared before. But what happened was Branimir had protected Rakaya from having the same fate as her mother, from being tortured for many days until, like, they finally killed her. So this is part of the reason why she really runs back to being a prostitute and going through the drugs and really just making sure that she doesn't remember anything. One, her power is, like, making sure she, like, intensely feels everyone else's emotions and takes them from her. But two, she has this trauma. Like, it's like survivor's guilt, ultimately. She lived and her mom went through so much and it's hard for her to bear. And then
it's frankly difficult to read.
Yeah, uncomfortable. This entire series dives into trauma on multiple levels for multiple reasons. And then, again, we get more of what the next trauma is going to be. So the winner of the tournament for the becoming ceremony is a Silesian soldier. And that's who's going to take Kalissa, the princess, her innocence, essentially. Yep. And remember, the Silesians, these are the really aggressive people who tortured Zavander. So they're not allies to the people in this area at all. For, like, political maneuvering, they have to be invited. So this isn't a good thing, but this is why Zavander wants to keep Rakaya away, because the Silesians are the ones that tortured their mother as well, and the ones who took Zavander from her. But she wants to be there for her friend because she remembers what it was like for her own becoming ceremony, where she was alone and on display, and she knows she needs, like, her friend needs a friendly face there, the princess. So she ultimately promises to take Mavis to the woods afterwards, even though, she has to deal with all this trauma.
Yep. And so chapter 51, Mavis is getting ready to go to the ceremony in this revealing, beautiful dress. And these are always some of my favorite parts of Romantasy and fantasy, is, like, the dresses that get described. I love them. So fun. We're playing dress up. We've got Mavis. is pointing out the sigil that's on her left shoulder, which is a symbol of her bloodline. Rakaya's, hers glows when it hits the moonlight, or she has high emotions. It's her magic sigil. Mavis glows when she thinks of Savannah or she's in warm water. Imagine that. Mavis Math is a cicada who's a messenger from the underworld, and it represents dawn of mankind for the Colossians and Lunar Seer. Okay.
That's not a happy lore at all. It talks about essentially this is the messenger person bringing a message to the woman saying you're going to be the mother and getting ultimately assaulted. And that is the birth of the Salesians and the Lunaseers through sexual assault. So it's not a great sort of message. And Rakaya's like, yeah, no, it's awful. It's a mask that we wear.
So they enter the castle under these two other names because Rakaya is like, oh, these are some identities that I can take. I'm looking over the name list from the guard, and these are the names that we can take. And I know these people are going to go. So enter the castle, and the guests are mingling in the courtyard. It's divided again by the Colossians and the Lunaseers because they don't really get along. It's like a formality that they're at this event. Zavander's there. He's in the back corner with Prince Dorjan, and Mavis notes that he's like in all black. Obviously, he looks handsome and all that good stuff. So Mavis feels very uncomfortable with this ceremony for obvious reasons, but she doesn't want to shame the princess. Doesn't want to bring shame to her family or her bloodline. So Mavis is pretty understanding of just because she's out of Foxglove doesn't mean that everything is all great where she's at now. And that there's a lot of similarities, that there's pros and cons to every realm that you find yourself in. And this is another great example of the patriarchy on full display here. Mavis then recognizes someone from Foxglove when she was having lunch with Mr. Morose. And remember, there was like a bunch of people at that table. This should be very concerning, like red flag city. That you see someone from Foxglove, because how the fuck do you see someone from Foxglove? This is weird. Yeah. So the way my eyes were like, ooh, the plot is plotting now. Something's about to pop off. And we've kind of been waiting because Mavis has been, all right, we've seen a little bit of the romance. We've done this thing with Rakaya. We've gotten to know Branmere. And we're kind of sitting there wondering like, okay, what's going on? When are we going to get back to this sister who's gone? Like, when are we going to get back to the big key elements that are moving and driving the plot forward? And this is where we're getting them. So finally, we have things that are starting to really pick up the pace here. And this is the scribe who asked about Vivicantum. And they end up speaking about this painting of Morsana, who's the goddess of death, and Deimos, who's the god of fear. There are two mages there. One is from Foxglove, and one is Ekmirios, who's fascinated with Mavis' necklace, and it's actually a whistle, right, that summons Ravox. So they leave her with, they go with this other mage. But this is really like a big red flag. So I'm reading this and I'm thinking to myself, this can't be good. This is about to pop off around. We're coming back around to this here in a minute. And it's not like Foxglove is like a big area. And we have to remember that Mavis, even with this mask on, is fairly recognizable. So she thinks that she's invisible here, but we're going to find out that that's probably not the case. So Zavander finds them, and Rakaya's like, oh, it was Mavis. And she's like, what? And he's pissed, and he's like, you need to take her back. Like, she can't be here. And they decide that, well, all right, we're going to wait till the ceremony's over to leave.
So because it's not polite to leave now.
No, it's not. No,
Rakaya
everybody
and her little scheming, she's like, we can't leave now. We have to at least watch the ceremony.
To at least see the ceremony, yeah. So they watch this entertainment, which of course is sexual of nature, because again, the whole premise of this act is related to someone losing their virginity. Contortionists, people that touched Mavis and all of this, and Dorjan dances with the princess before he gives her away. Savander calls for Mavis to dance with him, and she confronts him about sending her away. She's pissed off, right? So she feels this is her last chance to talk to him because she thinks she's going to the woods after this. So she wants to have this moment with him before she's not going to see him again in her mind. So she confronts him about sending her away. And he's like, I don't really want you to leave at this point, but I have to keep you safe. And you're not safe. You're not safe here. You need to go with Dolian. He is pissed that she's wearing this dress because how dare you attract any kind of attention to yourself? And he's like, all right, I'll forgive you. Just don't speak with anyone else while you're here. You know, keep a low profile, please. And then she mentions that there's a mage who she remembers from Foxglove. Zavander agrees that he's going to go talk to this mage. She wants Zavander to ask about Alasia. And he's like, no, because that's going to point a direct finger that Maveth is here. Because Maveth, you're also missing. I don't know if you know this, but you're also missing. So Maveth joins Rakaya, and Rakaya is speaking to the princess. Rakaya was her nursemaid, and they went on all these adventures together. So they're going to leave as soon as the ceremony begins. And Maveth tells Rakaya Zavander's plan, but Rakaya's like, you know that Zavander's going to like kill him, right? For looking at you at all, this other mage. And Rakaya notices this lustful Zavander that Zavander has been feeling since she arrived there. So she, again, her magic is that she can feel what other people feel. So she's known for a while, and you're finally starting to really understand how much of what she can feel here. Even though we knew that, we're not really getting specifics to Zavander's feelings until kind of now of what Rakaya can feel from him. But before, she's just hinted at like, oh, I know my brother, I know this, I know that. But here we kind of really get that glimpse into that, and that this is the end of that chapter, but it is definitely a lot of foreshadowing into what we're going to get into in the next chapter, which is really going to pop off our plot and start to get things really rolling as we delve into chapter 52 in our next episode. So that wraps up our chapters for today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annie, hit us with the down the road. What's our bookish rant for today?
So bookish rant for today. How do you feel when books when publishers rebrand the covers with movie covers? The reason I ask this is so
immediate.
Yeah. Okay. So look, like a bunch of our favorite books are going to be movies soon.
Mm-hmm.
You have Quicksilver, you have Butcher and Blackbird, you have Lights Out. On the Colleen Hoover side, this week, Reminders of Him comes out. And the way that Reminders of Him is already rebranding their book covers with pictures of Reminders of Him. And basically every other Colleen Hoover book that's ever come out has had a new branded book. And then The Housemaid got a cover refresh when that movie came out. And Wuthering Heights just got a cover refresh when that movie came out.
Which Wuthering Heights, I'm sorry.
I know.
You can't.
Yeah, not the book.
I feel like that's
she literally
illegal.
said multiple times, not the book. And it's also a literary classic. So what are we doing?
And
it's been like there.
A long time, so it's public domain and whatnot. But like, you don't own the rights to that book at all. Like, how dare you? When I saw that, I'm like, what do you? No, I feel very passionately about that one. There's this double-edged sword where obviously there are some people who read the book first, then watch the movie. Some people watch the movie first, and then they're like, oh, I liked that movie. Let me go read the book. So it does attract some sort of audience. And again, it's a money ploy for sure. I hate it. I hate it. Why are we having another version of a book where the book is going to always be better than the movie? I don't know of a single... No, I do know. We talked about Twilight, where the movie did it better than the book at the ending of Twilight. But besides that, I can't think of the ones that you listed. I can't think of the movie or the series or whatever being better than the book in any sort of level, and that would be
wondering with the ones
relatively
we have upcoming
annoying.
that were the ones that were
honestly
upcoming, and if they ever
like
made
I feel
Akatar into a series or even Anathema, like I just don't Anathema. I don't think they ever would, because maybe that's the thing. Is like you wouldn't think Game of Thrones would get picked up because it's. I mean. I think some elements are even significantly darker than Anathema in terms of like torture and visual and all of that.
Yeah.
But that definitely got turned into something. And I still stand by the fact that if this were written by a guy, I really feel like it would be in the high fantasy genre,
For sure.
and it would absolutely be considered a high fantasy read because there's so many elements of fantasy in this book and so many creatures and just so much going on with it. But anyway, I digress. My question really was about the books getting new covers, because guess what? Fourth Wing is coming out too. They're going to change our Fourth Wing book.
I am tired of buying so many versions of a book just so I can collect them all.
I'm not buying them. Not collecting
I'm not.
those.
No, I'm not.
I don't
either.
think I'm going to collect those. No,
because
I don't think I can do it.
It's just going to be the same. It doesn't offer anything additional except it's going to have someone who they think is Xaden, which is not the Xaden I had in my head, and who is Violet. That's not the Violet in my head, and it's not. No, it's not, and it's going to be about those two central characters, and which is kind of missing the entire plot of the Empyrean series and being about, you know, the dragons and whatnot.
The dragons.
But that is for another. That's for when we go deep into.
Time.
Yeah, that. But I mean, still, even with like Brimstone or Quicksilver, it's Callie's already been through a rebrand. Don't rebrand her again. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I do think that they're gonna definitely do that with. They always do that with the shows and the books, because to your point, it grabs people who are in the bookstore who are like, "Oh, I saw that show." Mm-hmm. They just did it with one of the thrillers we're going to pick up later this year that we haven't revealed yet. We'll talk about that later. But they do that with a lot of thrillers. They grab them and then they change the book cover. Or now out on Netflix, and they put the Netflix
the
cover.
sticker that never goes away. It's because it's not an actual sticker. The part of the
no, it's not
Netflix.
Literally part of the book.
Yeah, no, awful. Make it a sticker, or don't put it there at all. I don't know. I hate those fucking stickers.
The next question is, if we're only really seeing the spine of the book, like really just to deep think about this, if we're really only seeing the spine of the book most of the time, why do we care?
No,
I was just going to say, like, why does it matter as much? Okay.
It does.
All right.
It does. It is. I stand on this, that it matters. I just feel like when you rebrand because of a different sort of to the story, because honestly it's a source transformation. Ultimately, if I'm pulling out my like old English teaching stuff, it's not the actual book itself. You're transforming into a different medium, and you're kind of expanding the world.
Yeah,
but it's still not the original. I still want the original, and I don't want just the characters that the director put on, like, you know, for the movie on the book, because that's not who I pictured in my head. So
okay, then,
and that might be me problem. Yes.
Well, on that note, there was also a release supposedly that we saw that the pre-orders for ACOTAR 6 and 7 are hardcover only. So
yes, which means this box set I have over my head, fucking useless, because I know, which is the one you gave me, but still, it's
you're welcome.
But like, okay, the ones that you have right next to you,
behind me, those were gifted to me for Christmas. But yeah,
I know, but
those
like,
ones are going to be fine because.
But are they going to be the same sort of color? Because this is like a very bright color, right? Are they going to be the same sort of color scheme? Are we gonna? Are people gonna have to buy to have like some uniformity if you have like some sort of like the people OCD, that bought,
like and the people that bought like the black edition? The black, have you seen those?
Yeah. Are they gonna have?
I was talking about
to rebuy
about money grab. That reminds me of those because I was like, nothing.
Yes. So that's like what 3 versions of her books, and now there's probably gonna be a 4th total box set because there's gonna be three books total. With the last story, technically. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. I think that's annoying. Well, okay, so think of like Callie when she had to rebrand. That wasn't her. That wasn't like, that was kind of a choice made for her instead of like, you know, something that she's just doing just because for money. I feel like we're just going to do this so we can make more money because people are going to want the hardcovers, and then they're going to want a whole uniform set so they can resell this box set because the series has been out for so long. So it's another marketing tool, which, you know, annoying, yes. is this, consumerism? Also, yes. So,
Well, yeah. So Reminders of Him comes out March 13th. And then also so does Project Hail Mary. And both of those books have both re-released with the movie covers. So it's going to happen. It's what it is. The Fourth Wing will definitely rebrand when they get their show. We should expect to see another cover. So I wanted to pick your brain. Are you going to buy the new book
movie cover? No.
Yeah.
No. I will buy special editions, not movie.
Book snobs over here.
I feel very passionately about that. I'm not a book snob over the majority of things, but I don't like the movie cover.
Okay, so as we know, moving out of Down the Rabbit Hole and into news on this series specifically, as we know, Anathema is a trilogy, right? So The Eating Woods is the title of the trilogy by Keri Lake. Anathema is book 1. Anathema means witch in this series. It also can someone that is vehemently disliked. It can also mean a curse that's put on you by a pope or somebody of a church that's you're being denounced or removed. All of which kind of centers around Mavis. Yes. So on that note, book 2, which is titled Eldritch, if we're not familiar with that word, it is weird, sinister, or ghostly as defined by the Oxford Dictionary. So you can hear an eldritch screech is say that 5 times bad, is a sentence that the book that the dictionary utilizes to describe the word eldritch, but also a meaning of as weird, sinister, or ghostly. So again, it's book 2 of the Eating Woods series. That book is released. Book 3, which Keri Lake revealed is going to be released later this fall. It's usually predictively released a little bit before or right around Halloween. So we should expect that book to come out around that time. It is going to be called Vasmora, which in this case is Vessel of Death. So again, reluctant savior, Vessel of Death. This is going to be familiar to Mavis as well. We're going to see kind of what happens with her whole story arc. But again, this is the Eating Woods and Eldritch, which Anathema and Eldritch were both originally indie published books through Keri Lake. They got picked up by Bloom. Bloom republished the book you see above me, behind me, that has the nice sprayed edges and all of that. That book is re-releasing in the fall for Eldritch's version. The physical copy I have of Eldritch is the indie version. The trad version through Bloom Books is releasing in the fall. I don't know when Vasmora, the trad physical book version, is going to release, but I do know that Vasmora, the Kindle edition, Kindle Unlimited edition, the same as the other 2 books, which are also in Kindle Unlimited, will release in the fall. So while you won't get the Vasmora physical edition probably for another 6 to 8 months following the Eldritch release to the trad publishing world, it will be available on Kindle Unlimited, which is very strange because usually after a book gets picked up, they'll space out all the releases after that. But I feel like Keri Lake specifically was like, I want to be loyal to my fans who have been here day one, and I'm going to continue to release my books as they're completed, and then Bloom can release them when they release them. Right. So she still intends to release Asmora in the same way she has before, which will be through Kindle Unlimited. So anticipate that, which I love, come there, but I wanted to provide some context.
The physical copies,
what to expect.
The physical copies ultimately become just book trophies, anyways, because I read everything on my Kindle or the Kindle
your phone.
App, so or my phone. Exactly. I'm very big on reading on my phone. But I mean, this fall is a big fall for book releases.
Oh my gosh,
there's a lot going on this fall.
So much going on this fall, and we'll probably post something that talks about the books we're most looking forward to. Obviously, this month we also have Game On coming out, which I'm really excited for. Yes. So Game On is our third book in following Lights Out and Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. So that's going to be the third book in that trilogy, who we're following the lead Tyler in that book. And so we'll see what his story is and what he's up to, because he's a character for sure. So we'll see what he's got going on.
Now it's time for Mystery Q&A. These questions have not been shared with either of us prior to asking.
Okay, I got a really millennial question for you.
Okay, hit me with it.
Now that all these kids have and even us, we have all these water bottles, and this one's called a hydro jug, which if you don't have a hydro jug, I highly recommend them. How much water do you remember drinking in childhood? That's my question for you.
Absolutely zero. I remember in like having PE and everyone just having to line up at the water fountain and getting your 3-second sip of water. And that was it. Like, you're not like, these kids
and
are
lunch.
so hydrated.
That was like the water.
Yeah. Like, mine is a simple modern.
It's Simply Modern. I like those too. The Target brand.
I like, yeah. And I just, like, my daughter, she has one of these 20 ounces. She goes through that. Like, I refill at least once a day. I'm like, I don't remember being this hydrated. Like, it's great. But we were just, there were a lot of things that I remember. Like, so my daughter's 5, right? And, you know, we have a fenced in backyard and we talk about, like, you know, she's like, I want to play outside. I'm like, I can see you from the window. You go ahead. I'll be out there. She's like, no, I don't want to. It's like, girl, I didn't have a fence and I was playing outside at your age, just solo and the ditch by the street. Parents not giving a flying F of where I am. And she's like, whoa. And I feel like when I talk to her, I feel old because I'm like, there's no way. Like, we talked to her about she's like, why is the TV square when we watch like old stuff? Because she likes watching like the old Disney movies, or I make her watch the old Disney movies that when Disney Channel would release Disney movies. And she's like, why is the TV square? I'm like, well, back in my day, you know, the TV was square, not rectangle.
Yeah.
Oh, things are different. These kids are soft. Like, imagine just going out, like,
oh my God,
raw dogging 8 ounces of water a day. Like,
listen, I survived solidly on Fruitopia. Do you remember, like, did you have vending machines? Like, I remember my school had vending machines, and we had Fruitopia, which, by the way, is no longer a drink. It's like not a thing. It was literally like syrup. I don't even think there was any fruit in Fruitopia at all. I'm fairly certain there was like none. And I remember vividly just like, that's all I don't even recall. Maybe I had a sip of water here or there, like you said. But these kids in their water bottles, they take water everywhere. I was just like, I can't relate. We had the water fountain, and that was it the whole day.
Yeah.
But also, like, how much do you have to pee per day? Like, these kids must just be going to the bathroom left and right, for God's sakes. Like,
probably. I mean, yes. Or, I mean, if you drink a lot of water, your body adjusts to like a norm of like hydration. So it's probably not that bad. But
they're just gonna have really good skin.
We definitely weren't.
Oh no.
That's probably like a survival skill, because, you know, you weren't allowed to like get up to go to the bathroom whenever. Now if you like make a kid
like so many times
try to hold but now if you make a kid try to hold it, like, you can get in a lot of legal trouble for that.
Yeah. Exactly. So if they gotta go to the bathroom, they gotta go. But not anymore. Exactly. We used to have to sit there.
Yeah, it's like you wait until class change. You wait until I'm done. You just sit there and wait, and you just hold it and you bounce, and that's it. On the same vein of millennialism, what is a millennial item? Could be a food item, could be a clothing brand, shoe, whatever. What is something that was a millennial item that you wish would be rebranded and is utilized today? Or something for your kid or something like that.
This is going to be kind of a weird answer. So we actually talked about N64 last episode, and I'm going to bring N64 back up again. And the reason I'm bringing this back up again is it's not because I want like the quality of the N64 graphics or anything like that. I want my new graphics. But what I don't want is I don't want a disc to do it. Or if I do have a disc, I don't want to have to use the internet. I do not want to have to use the internet to connect my gaming system. I don't want to have to buy any extra stuff. I don't want to download any extra shit to go with it. I just want to play my game. That's all I want. And I want it to work without internet. I want to buy my game. I don't want to have to download anything. I want to put it on immediately and play the game. And then if I have to, go, clean off the disc, pop it in, or whatever have you, that's what I want to do to fix the problem. I don't want to have to wait to connect to anything. I don't want any extra shit popping up. I don't want to buy anything else. I don't want to do anything else other than play the game. I miss the simplicity of putting a game in, playing it, and that's it. Now I feel like there's all this extra stuff. You have to log in. You have to freaking
Have a
there's home
membership.
screen. There's all this membership shit. There's all this extra stuff to buy.
And
like,
you
I don't
can't
want to
play
do
the
any of
game
that.
unless you have the membership. So
Right. It's like a whole
but-
thing. And I don't want to do any
Right.
of that. I just want to put the game in. I want to pay the one-time fee and play the freaking game. And that's it. So
That's
if there's
fair.
one millennial thing I have, I guess that would be it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even with like the new Switch stuff, like I don't want to buy the new, like the Switch 2 because I know all the new games are going to be on that. But I'm like, there's nothing wrong with my Switch. And all those games they're either virtual. And if you play virtual, if you like download them, you can only play on an internet connection, which is stupid. The whole point of having a Switch is to be able to move with it. And you have to connect to the internet to do that. It's like, okay, well, does it connect to my hotspot on my phone then? Then you have to have your phone around. And it's like, yeah, I agree. Gaming has been
but it's to
made
force you to buy
complicated.
more shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
back in the day, like the OG Nintendo still works today with the games because all you have to do is plug it into power and connect it to your TV.
Blow in
and
it and kind of wiggle it in and have a prayer.
Yeah. But it's not, you don't need a membership.
Actually did not work. It actually was really bad.
It's a comment for another time.
You're getting
yeah. All right. What would you want?
What I would want, my mind immediately went to those fucking Tamagotchis. Like the way that.
But they brought those back. I don't know if they're good,
it's like,
but they did bring them back.
Right. But I want like like you said, like the simplicity of games. And I feel like 90s infomercials and like those commercials that like they really like knew how to sell you on like a product.
Yeah.
They really did. The amount of things that I wish I had, which were so stupid, like a giant inflatable frisbee thing, or like
no, how about those toys where you
rainbow.
pulled the lever and she like flew in the air? Do you remember her?
Yeah,
what she was called. Her like arms
I don't remember
were the
either.
wings, and you pull her. If somebody in the audience knows, comment.
It's like a fairy.
You pull the string. Yeah, she's like a fairy thing.
Yeah.
And she was in Toy Story 4
Flutters
actually.
off.
But she was in some kid left her in the park in Toy Story 4.
Those are easy to get lost. Or like the rainbow
they have the
thing that to do. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. But I don't know. The Tamagotchi, I'm still going to stick with Tamagotchis. I don't think that, but they're not popular. Like those things were popular. People had them on them all the time. And they're like, what are those?
People had several Tamagotchis.
Dolls?
And then you also had like Bobo brand. There was like a non-Tamagotchi brand that was like the wannabe brand. A lot of people had those too. Those were also popular.
But what do they have right now? What is the thing that they carry? The creepy little dolls.
The Labubu?
The boo-boos. Yeah. No,
Yes.
I want my Tamagotchis instead of the little boo-boos. Just like feed them, teach them responsibility. And when they die, they die. That's what you get for going on vacation.
Okay, then. That's fair. All right.
Well, responsibility and whatnot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what's coming up next on Book Club After Dark.
On that note, next week we'll dive into chapters 52 through 62 of Anathema by Keri Lake. We're looking forward to continuing to dive into this novel with you.
And don't forget, we want to hear from you. If you have thoughts on Anathema or suggestions for future reads, drop a comment below or message us on one of our social media platforms at Book Club After Dark Pod. Show us your fan art, theories, or anything bookish you'd like to share.
You can also visit our website, bookclubafterdark.co, to stay up to date on our cozy content and check out our merch.
That's all for tonight. Sleep tight, night owls. Until next time, happy reading.